The school bell rang loud across the playground and kids rushed out like water breaking through a dam. Maya picked up her backpack and walked slowly toward the gate. Unlike other kids who ran to catch buses or meet their parents, she always walked home. The walk gave her time to think, and today she had a lot on her mind. Her math test hadn't gone well. She knew her mom would ask about it at dinner, and Maya dreaded disappointing her again. Her mom worked 2 jobs to keep their small apartment, and the last thing Maya wanted was to add more stress to her life. The October air was crisp, and fallen leaves crunched under her sneakers as she took her usual route through Riverside Park. Most kids avoided the park after school because it was quiet and seemed a bit lonely, but Maya liked the peace. She could walk slowly and clear her head before facing homework and chores at home. As she walked along the winding path, Maya noticed something strange. The park was never completely silent, but today it felt different. Birds weren't chirping, like usual, and even the traffic noise from the nearby street seemed muffled. She pulled her jacket tighter and kept walking. Then she heard it, a soft crying sound, almost like a kitten stuck somewhere. Maya stopped walking and tilted her head to listen better. The sound was coming from somewhere to her left, near the thick bushes that bordered the old playground equipment. Maya looked around the empty park. No one else was in sight. The crying continued, weak but persistent. Her heart started beating faster. What if someone was hurt and needed help? She left the main path and walked toward the bushes, pushing branches aside carefully. The crying got louder as she got closer. It definitely wasn't a cat. It sounded like... Maya's breath caught in her throat. Behind a large bush, partially hidden by fallen leaves, sat a baby carrier. Inside was a tiny baby with pale skin and light hair, maybe 6 months old. The little one was crying weakly, her face red and tear-stained. A piece of paper was pinned to the pink blanket covering her. Maya's hands shook as she knelt down beside the carrier. The baby looked exhausted from crying, and her lips seemed dry. How long had she been here? Maya looked around frantically, hoping to see a parent who had maybe just stepped away for a moment, but the park remained empty. With trembling fingers, Maya unpinned the note from the blanket. The handwriting was messy, like someone had written it while crying. Please help, my baby girl. I can't take care of her right now. I'm not a bad person, but I can't give her what she needs. Please make sure someone good finds her. Her name is Hope. Please don't let anything bad happen to her. Maya read the note 3 times, her heart pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. Someone had left this baby here on purpose. Someone had walked away from their own child because they couldn't handle being a parent anymore. The baby's crying was getting weaker, which scared Maya even more than the loud crying had. She remembered from health class that babies could get very sick very quickly if they got too hot, too cold, or didn't have enough water. Maya pulled out her phone with shaking hands. She had to call someone. But who? The police? An ambulance? Her mom was at work and couldn't leave until evening. She dialed 911, her fingers barely steady enough to hit the right numbers. No one. What's your emergency? I found a baby, Maya said, her voice cracking. Someone left a baby in the park and she's been crying. I think she might be sick. What's your location, honey? Riverside Park near the old playground. Please hurry, she looks really tired and her lips are dry. We're sending help right away. Are you safe where you are? Yes. But the baby isn't. She needs help now. Help is coming. Can you stay with the baby until they arrive? Maya looked down at the tiny face, now quiet, but breathing in short, quick breaths. Yes. I'll stay with her. But as Maya waited, she realized something. It was getting late and the park would be dark soon. What if the ambulance couldn't find them easily? What if the baby got worse while they waited? Maya made a decision that would change everything. I'm going to bring her to the hospital, she told the operator. Memorial Hospital is only 20 minutes from here. If I walk fast, I can get her there quicker than waiting. Ma'am, I need you to stay where you are. But Maya had already hung up. She carefully lifted the baby carrier, surprised by how heavy it was. The baby opened her eyes and looked at Maya with the bluest eyes she'd ever seen. For a moment, they just stared at each other. It's okay, Hope, Maya whispered, using the name from the note. I'm going to get you help. Maya had never carried anything so important in her life. Each step felt huge and scary. What if she dropped the carrier? What if she made the baby worse by moving her? What if people at the hospital didn't believe her story? But as she walked, Maya thought about the note. Someone's mom had been so desperate that she left her baby in a park, hoping a stranger would help. Maya couldn't imagine how scared and sad that mom must have been. She must have loved her baby very much to make sure someone would find her in a safe place. The walk to Memorial Hospital felt like it took forever, even though Maya walked as fast as she could without jostling the carrier too much. Hope had stopped crying completely, which worried Maya. The baby's breathing seemed okay, but she was so quiet and still. People on the street stared as a 12-year-old girl hurried past carrying a baby carrier, but Maya didn't care what anyone thought. All that mattered was getting Hope to safety. When the hospital's big glass doors finally came into view, Maya felt relief wash over her like cool water on a hot day. She rushed through the automatic doors and straight to the front desk. "Please help," she said to the woman behind the counter. "I found this baby in the park and I think she's sick." The woman looked shocked, then immediately picked up her phone. Within seconds, people in scrubs were surrounding Maya and Hope, asking questions and checking the baby's condition. As nurses wheeled Hope away on a small bed, Maya realized she was shaking all over. She had done it. She had gotten Hope to safety. But this was just the beginning. Now she had to explain everything, to adults who would probably have a lot of hard questions. Maya sat down in a waiting room chair and took a deep breath. She had no idea that this one decision to help would lead to the most important discovery of her young life, and change everything she thought she knew about kindness, family, and what it really means to save someone. The emergency room at Memorial Hospital had seen many strange situations over the years, but a 12-year-old girl walking in with an abandoned baby was definitely not normal. Maya sat in the waiting area, watching through the glass doors as doctors and nurses worked on Hope. Dr. Martinez, the head of pediatric emergency care, came out after what felt like hours, but was probably only 30 minutes. She was a kind-looking woman with gentle eyes, and when she sat down next to Maya, her voice was soft but serious. "The baby is going to be okay," she said first, and Maya felt her shoulders relax for the first time since finding Hope. She was dehydrated and very tired, but nothing that can't be fixed. "You did the right thing bringing her here." Maya nodded, not trusting her voice to stay steady if she tried to speak. "Now I need you to tell me exactly what happened. Take your time and don't worry about getting in trouble. You're not in trouble at all." Maya told the whole story, starting from walking through the park and hearing the crying. She showed Dr. Martinez the note, which she had carefully folded and put in her pocket. The doctor read it twice, her expression growing more concerned. "Have you called your parents yet?" Dr. Martinez asked. "My mom is at work. She cleans offices downtown and can't leave until her shift ends at 6. Maya looked at the clock on the wall. It was almost 5:30. "We'll need to call her. And Maya, there are some other people who need to talk to you too. When a baby is found like this, we have to follow certain rules to make sure everyone stays safe." As if on cue, 2 people walked through the emergency room doors. One was a police officer, tall and serious-looking, but not scary. The other was a woman carrying a briefcase who introduced herself as Mrs. Chen from Child Protective Services. Maya's stomach dropped. She had heard about Child Protective Services at school. Kids whispered that they were the people who took children away from their families. What if they thought she had done something wrong? What if they didn't believe her story? Officer Rodriguez sat down across from Maya, while Mrs. Chen took notes. His voice was much gentler than Maya had expected. "You did something very brave today," he said. "Most adults wouldn't have known what to do in that situation, and you probably saved that baby's life." Maya felt a little better, but she was still nervous. "I need to ask you some questions, okay? Just so we can understand everything that happened." For the next 20 minutes, Maya answered questions about the park, the exact location where she found Hope, what time it was, and whether she had seen anyone else around. Officer Rodriguez wrote down everything carefully. "Did you touch anything else besides the baby carrier and the note?" he asked. "No, I was too scared to touch anything else. I just wanted to get her here as fast as possible." Mrs. Chen looked up from her notes. "Maya, you mentioned your mother works 2 jobs. Do you often walk home alone through the park?" Maya nodded. "Every day after school. It's safe during the day, and it's faster than taking the bus." "And you've never seen anything unusual there before?" "No, never. That's why the crying scared me so much. The park is usually just quiet, not like today." Just then, Maya heard her mother's voice in the hallway, talking quickly to someone at the front desk. A moment later, her mom rushed into the waiting area, still wearing her cleaning uniform and looking panicked. "Maya, baby, are you okay? They called me at work and said you were at the hospital with a baby, but they wouldn't tell me anything else over the phone." Maya stood up and hugged her mother tightly. Having her mom there made everything feel less scary. Dr. Martinez explained the situation to Maya's mother, who listened with growing amazement and pride. When the doctor finished, Maya's mom looked at her daughter with tears in her eyes. "I can't believe you did all that by yourself," she said. "You were so brave." Officer Rodriguez cleared his throat. "Mrs. Johnson, we do need Maya to come with us to show us exactly where she found the baby. It's important for our investigation." Maya's mother looked worried. "Is she in any kind of trouble?" "Not at all. Maya is a hero here. But we need to process the scene and make sure we have all the details right. You're welcome to come with us." The drive back to Riverside Park felt strange. Maya sat in the back of the police car with her mother, watching the familiar streets pass by. Everything looked the same as it had an hour ago, but Maya felt completely different. At the park, she led Officer Rodriguez and Mrs. Chen to the exact spot where she had found Hope. Someone had already placed yellow tape around the area, and a police photographer was taking pictures of everything. Right there, Maya pointed to the space behind the large bush. The carrier was sitting right there, and you could barely see it unless you walked off the path. Officer Rodriguez knelt down and examined the ground carefully. The person who left her here knew this spot well. It's hidden enough that the baby wouldn't be found by just anyone walking by, but not so hidden that she'd never be found at all. Mrs. Chen was looking around the area with a thoughtful expression. "Maya, when you found the baby, did you get the feeling that someone had been watching from nearby? Like maybe they wanted to make sure she was found safely?" Maya thought about, I don't know. I was so focused on Hope that I didn't really look around much, but..." She paused, trying to remember exactly how everything had felt. The crying seemed like it had been going on for a while, but not too long. Like maybe whoever left her there didn't go very far away. They spent another 30 minutes at the park, with Officer Rodriguez asking Maya to walk through her exact steps and timeline. Maya's mother stayed close by, holding her hand whenever she looked nervous. As they were getting ready to leave, Mrs. Chen pulled Maya aside for a private conversation. "Maya, I want you to know that what you did today shows incredible maturity and compassion. Not many kids your age would have handled this situation so well." "I just couldn't leave her there," Maya said simply. "I know, and that says a lot about who you are as a person." Mrs. Chen paused. "I also want you to know that we're going to do everything we can to find Hope's mother and make sure she gets the help she needs. Sometimes when people leave their babies like this, it's because they're in a very dark place and don't know what else to do." Maya nodded. She had been thinking about Hope's mother too, wondering what could make someone so desperate that they would leave their baby in a park. "Will I be able to visit Hope at the hospital?" Maya asked. Mrs. Chen smiled. "I think that can be arranged. She's going to be in the hospital for a few days while we figure out the next steps, and I'm sure she'd love to see the girl who saved her life." As they drove home, Maya's mother kept glancing at her daughter with a mixture of pride and worry. "You know you could have been hurt today, right?" she said finally. "Walking through the park with a baby, going to the hospital alone, anything could have happened." "I know, Mom. But I couldn't just leave her there. What if no one else had found her? What if she had gotten sicker?" Maya's mother reached over and squeezed her hand. I'm proud of you, baby girl. Scared, but proud. You did something today that most grown-ups would be afraid to do. That night, as Maya lay in bed trying to process everything that had happened, she couldn't stop thinking about Hope's tiny face and those bright blue eyes. She wondered where Hope's mother was right now, and whether she was safe. She wondered if Hope would remember anything about this day when she grew up. Most of all, Maya wondered what would happen next. She had a feeling that this was just the beginning of something much bigger than she could imagine. The next morning, Maya woke up thinking it had all been a strange dream. But when she saw the folded piece of paper on her dresser, Hope's note, that Officer Rodriguez had let her keep a copy of, she knew everything had really happened. At school, Maya couldn't concentrate on anything. During math class, she kept thinking about Hope lying in that hospital crib. During lunch, she wondered if anyone was sitting with her so she wouldn't be alone. Her best friend Katie noticed something was wrong. You look like you didn't sleep at all, Katie said, unwrapping her sandwich. And you've been staring at nothing all morning. Maya wanted to tell Katie everything, but something held her back. It felt too big, too important to just share during lunch period. Instead, she just said she wasn't feeling well and tried to focus on her homework. Meanwhile, across town at the police station, Officer Rodriguez was having a very different kind of morning. He had spent the early hours reviewing security footage from businesses near Riverside Park, looking for any sign of who might have left Hope there. Most of the cameras didn't point toward the park, but the grocery store across the street had one camera that captured part of the park entrance. Officer Rodriguez sat with Detective Williams watching hours of footage on fast forward. There, Detective Williams said suddenly, pointing at the screen. Back it up to 2:47 p.m. They watched as a young woman appeared on the edge of the screen, carrying what looked like a baby carrier. She was wearing a dark hoodie with the hood pulled up, making it hard to see her face clearly. The timestamp showed 2:47 p.m., about an hour before Maya found Hope. She's small, Officer Rodriguez observed. Young, maybe late teens or early 20s. And look how she's walking. The woman on the screen moved slowly, like every step was difficult. She kept stopping and looking around, and even through the grainy footage they could see her shoulders shaking like she was crying. This isn't someone who wanted to abandon her baby, Detective Williams said quietly. This is someone who feels like she has no other choice. They watched as the woman disappeared into the park area that the camera couldn't see. About 15 minutes later, she appeared again, walking back toward the street. This time, she wasn't carrying anything, and she was moving faster, like she was forcing herself not to look back. Can we enhance this at all? Officer Rodriguez asked. Get a better look at her face? Detective Williams shook his head. The resolution isn't good enough, but we can try other angles. Check if any other businesses have footage. While the police worked on their investigation, Mrs. Chen was busy with her own research. As a child protective services worker, she had handled many cases involving abandoned children, but something about this one felt different. She sat in her office reading Hope's note for the 10th time. The handwriting was shaky but educated. The spelling was correct. The language was thoughtful, not rushed or angry. This wasn't someone making a quick, thoughtless decision. This was someone who had thought carefully about what they were doing. Mrs. Chen picked up her phone and called. Dr. Martinez at the hospital. How is Hope doing today? She asked. Much better. She's eating well, sleeping normally, and responding to the nurses. Dr. Kelly ran some tests yesterday and everything looks good. She's a healthy baby who was just dehydrated and exhausted. Any signs of long-term neglect or abuse? None at all. Her medical records show she's been getting proper care. Vaccinations are up to date. Weight is normal for her age. Whoever was taking care of her before was doing a good job. This made Mrs. Chen even more curious. If Hope had been well cared for, why was she abandoned? What had changed in her mother's life to make her feel this desperate? After lunch, Mrs. Chen decided to visit Maya at school. She wanted to talk to the girl who had found Hope, away from all the adults and official questions. Sometimes kids notice things that grown-ups missed. Maya was called to the principal's office during her last period, and her heart started racing. Was she in trouble? Had something happened to Hope? But when she saw Mrs. Chen sitting there with a kind smile, Maya relaxed a little. "I'm not here about anything bad," Mrs. Chen said quickly. "I just wanted to check on you and ask if you've thought of anything else about yesterday." They sat in the empty conference room next to the principal's office. Mrs. Chen had brought Maya a hot chocolate from the vending machine, which made the conversation feel less scary. "Have you been thinking about Hope's mother?" Mrs. Chen asked gently. Maya nodded. "All night. I keep wondering where she is and if she's okay." "What do you think about when you imagine her?" Maya thought for a moment. "I think she's really sad and scared. Maybe she doesn't have anyone to help her, like a mom or dad or husband." "Why do you think that?" "Because if she had people to help her, she wouldn't have had to leave Hope in the park. She would have asked them for help instead." Mrs. Chen was impressed by Maya's insight. "That's very thoughtful. Did anything about the note make you think about her situation?" Maya pulled out her copy of the note and read it again. "She called Hope my baby girl, like she really loves her, and she asked for someone good to find her. She wanted to make sure Hope would be safe." "Anything else?" "The handwriting got messier at the end, like she was crying harder when she wrote it, and—" Maya paused, not sure if her observation was important. "She wrote, 'right now,' when she said she couldn't take care of Hope. Not ever, or anymore." "Just right now." Mrs. Chen felt goosebumps on her arms. Maya was right. The note did say "right now," which could mean Hope's mother was hoping this was temporary. Maybe she was planning to get help and try to get her baby back someday. "Maya, you're very observant. That detail might be really important." Later that afternoon, Officer Rodriguez got a call that would change everything. A woman named Lisa, who worked at the downtown women's shelter, had seen the news story about Hope being found. "I think I might know who the mother is," Lisa said, over the phone. "There's a young woman who's been staying here on and off for the past few months. She has a baby about the right age, and she hasn't been back since yesterday afternoon." Officer Rodriguez grabbed his keys. "We'll be right there." The women's shelter was in an old brick building downtown, clean but clearly operating on a tight budget. Lisa met them at the front door and led them to her small office. "Her name is Ashley," Lisa explained. "She's 19, been homeless for about 6 months. She usually comes here with her baby, a little girl she calls Hope." Detective Williams leaned forward. "Tell us about her situation. It's complicated. Ashley aged out of foster care last year and she's been struggling ever since. She was doing okay for a while, had a job at a fast food place and a tiny apartment, but then the restaurant closed down and she couldn't make rent." Lisa pulled out a file folder. "She's been trying so hard to keep Hope with her. She loves that baby more than anything. But she's been getting more and more desperate." "Has she talked about giving up the baby?" Officer Rodriguez asked. "Not exactly. But last week she asked me what would happen if someone couldn't take care of their child anymore. I gave her information about legal options, but she seemed too scared to pursue any of them." "Scared of what?" "She's terrified that if she asks for help officially, they'll take Hope away and she'll never see her again. Ashley grew up in the system, and she has some bad experiences with social services." Mrs. Chen felt her heart break a little. This was exactly the kind of situation she had suspected. A young mother who loved her child but felt completely trapped and alone. "Do you have any idea where Ashley might be now?" she asked. Lisa shook her head sadly. "She has a few places she goes when she can't stay here, but nothing permanent. She's probably sleeping outside somewhere, scared and heartbroken." As they left the shelter, the 3 adults were quiet. They now knew who Hope's mother was, but finding her was going to be much harder. Ashley was out there somewhere, probably thinking she had lost her daughter forever. What none of them knew was that Ashley had been watching the news coverage from the public library, and she had seen Maya's interview. She had seen the kindness in the 12-year-old's eyes and heard her say that Hope was safe and being well cared for. For the first time in days, Ashley felt a tiny spark of hope herself. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way to fix the biggest mistake of her life. 3 days had passed since Maya found Hope, and she had visited the hospital every day after school. Each time she brought something small, a colorful book, a soft toy, or just sat by Hope's crib talking quietly. The nurses had gotten used to seeing the 12-year-old girl who had saved the baby, and they always made sure Maya had time alone with Hope. On Friday afternoon, Maya sat beside Hope's crib, reading a picture book about a little duck finding its way home. Hope was awake, looking at Maya with those bright blue eyes that seemed to understand everything. The mama duck was so worried, Maya read softly. She looked everywhere for her baby duck. She asked all the other animals in the pond, but no one had seen her little one. As Maya read, she couldn't help thinking about Ashley, Hope's real mother. The police had told Maya's mom that they knew who Hope's mother was, but they couldn't find her. Maya wondered if Ashley was looking for Hope the same way the mama duck in the story was searching for her baby. Dr. Martinez walked into the room just as Maya finished the story. She had been checking on Hope every few hours since she arrived, and she had grown fond of both the baby and her young visitor. "How's our little hero today?" Dr. Martinez asked, sitting down in the chair next to Maya. "She seems happy," Maya said, watching Hope grab at the colorful pages of the book. "Do you think she misses her mom?" Dr. Martinez studied Maya's face. Something in the girl's voice told her this wasn't just a casual question. "I think babies can sense when people care about them," Dr. Martinez said carefully. "Hope seems very comfortable with you. You have a special way with her." Maya was quiet for a moment, still watching Hope play with the book. Then, without looking up, she said something that made Dr. Martinez's heart skip. "My mom was really young when she had me too." Dr. Martinez felt like this was an important moment, but she didn't want to push Maya to share more than she was ready to. "How young?" she asked gently. 15. Maya finally looked up. She was still in high school, and she didn't have anyone to help her. "My grandma had to take care of me for the first 2 years while my mom finished school." Dr. Martinez nodded, understanding now why Maya seemed so connected to Hope's situation. "That must have been hard for everyone. My mom always tells me about how scared she was. She thought they were going to take me away from her forever because she was too young and didn't have money or a good place to live." Maya reached into the crib and let Hope grab her finger. The baby held on tight like she didn't want Maya to leave. "What changed?" Dr. Martinez asked. "There was this social worker, Mrs. Patterson. She was different from the others. Instead of just telling my mom all the things she was doing wrong, she helped her figure out how to do things right." Maya's voice got stronger as she continued. "Mrs. Patterson helped my mom apply for programs that would let her finish high school while learning how to take care of me. She found my mom a safe place to live with other young mothers. And she promised my mom that if she worked hard and followed the plan, she could keep me." Dr. Martinez was beginning to understand something important. "And did it work out?" Maya smiled for the first time since she'd started talking. "My mom graduated high school and went to community college to become a certified nursing assistant. She got a good job at a nursing home, and when I was 2, we got our own apartment. Mrs. Patterson kept checking on us for years, just to make sure we were okay." "That's a beautiful story, Maya. Your mom must be very proud of how hard she worked." "She is, but she always says the most important thing was that someone believed in her when she didn't believe in herself." Maya looked directly at Dr. Martinez. "She says Mrs. Patterson saved both of us by giving us a chance instead of just taking me away." Dr. Martinez felt pieces clicking together in her mind. "Maya, is that why you've been so worried about Hope's mother?" Maya nodded, tears starting to form in her eyes. "When I read that note, it sounded exactly like something my mom might have written when she was scared and 15 and didn't know what to do." "And you think Hope's mother might just need the same kind of help your mother got?" "I know she does." Maya's voice was firm now. The note didn't sound angry or mean. It sounded like someone who loves her baby but thinks she's not good enough to be a mom, just like my mom felt. Dr. Martinez reached over and squeezed Maya's hand. "Have you told any of the adults working on this case about your family's story?" Maya shook her head. "I didn't think it mattered, and I was scared they might think my mom was a bad person for having me so young." "Maya, your mother's story could matter a lot. It might help us understand how to help Hope's mother better." Just then, Mrs. Chen appeared in the doorway. She had been looking for Dr. Martinez and was surprised to find her deep in conversation with Maya. "I'm sorry to interrupt," Mrs. Chen said. "Maya, I was hoping to talk to you about something, but if this isn't a good time—" "Actually," Dr. Martinez said, "I think Maya has something important to share with you, something that might help with Hope's case." Maya felt nervous again, but she looked at Hope sleeping peacefully in her crib and found her courage. Over the next 20 minutes, she told Mrs. Chen the same story she had just shared with Dr. Martinez. Mrs. Chen listened without interrupting, taking notes and nodding encouragingly. When Maya finished, Mrs. Chen was quiet for a long moment. "Maya, do you still have contact with Mrs. Patterson?" Mrs. Chen asked. "She retired a few years ago, but my mom still sends her Christmas cards. Why?" "Because I think Ashley, Hope's mother, needs exactly the kind of help Mrs. Patterson gave your family. And I think you and your mother might be the perfect people to help us show Ashley that there's another way." Maya felt her heart beating faster. "What do you mean?" "Ashley is 19 and terrified that if she comes forward, she'll lose Hope forever. But what if she could meet your mother? What if she could see that it's possible to be a young mother and still raise your child successfully with the right support?" Dr. Martinez smiled. "That's a wonderful idea. Maya, would your mother be willing to talk to Ashley?" Maya thought about her mom, who worked so hard every day and always made time to help their neighbors when they had problems. "I think she would want to help. She always says that Mrs. Patterson taught her to pay kindness forward whenever she could." Mrs. Chen pulled out her phone. "Maya, I want to call your mother right now. We've been looking for Ashley for 3 days and we're not having any luck. But if we can get your mother's story on the news, along with an invitation for Ashley to come forward safely, it might reach her." "You think she's watching the news about Hope?" "I think any mother in Ashley's situation would be watching every story about her baby. She's probably desperate to know that Hope is okay." Maya looked down at Hope, who had woken up and was looking at her with those trusting blue eyes. "If my mom's story can help bring them back together, then we have to try." As Mrs. Chen called Maya's mother, Dr. Martinez sat with Maya in comfortable silence. Both of them watched Hope, thinking about how one act of kindness 12 years ago had led to this moment. Maya's mother had been saved by someone who believed in second chances. Now maybe Maya and her family could help save another young mother and bring Hope home where she belonged. Hope grabbed Maya's finger again, holding on tight. Maya whispered, "Don't worry, Hope. We're going to find your mama and help her come back to you." For the first time since this all began, Maya felt truly hopeful that everything would work out exactly the way it was supposed to. That evening, Maya sat with her mother in the hospital lobby, waiting for the news crew to finish setting up their cameras. Maya's mom, Jessica, had agreed immediately when Mrs. Chen called her at work. She had taken the rest of the day off and rushed to the hospital, ready to do whatever it took to help Hope and Ashley. "Are you nervous, Mom?" Maya asked, watching her mother fidget with her purse strap. "A little," Jessica admitted. "But if telling our story can help that poor girl find her way back to her baby, then it's worth it." The reporter, Ms. Williams, was kind and patient. She had covered many difficult stories over the years, but something about this one felt special. She sat down with Maya and Jessica in front of the cameras and started with gentle questions. "Jessica, can you tell us about your experience as a young mother?" Jessica took a deep breath and began sharing her story. She talked about being 15 and scared, about feeling like she wasn't good enough to raise a child, about the social worker who changed everything by offering help instead of judgment. "I want Ashley to know that being young doesn't mean you can't be a good mother," Jessica said, looking directly into the camera. "It just means you need the right support, and that support exists. People are willing to help when you're ready to accept it." Maya watched her mother with pride. She had never heard her mom talk so openly about those difficult early years, and she could see how much courage it took. "Maya," Ms. Williams turned to her. "What would you want to say to Ashley if you could talk to her right now?" Maya thought about Hope's tiny fingers holding onto hers, about the desperate love in that handwritten note, about her own mother's journey from scared teenager to confident woman. I would tell her that Hope is safe and happy, and that everyone here wants to help them be together again. I would tell her that being scared doesn't make you a bad mom. It makes you a mom who cares. And I would tell her that my mom was scared, too. But look how great everything turned out. The interview aired on the evening news and was shared on social media throughout the night. Maya's family went home hoping that somehow, somewhere, Ashley would see it and find the courage to come forward. Ashley did see it. She was staying at the 24-hour laundromat downtown, the only warm place she could find to spend the night. When the story came on the small TV mounted in the corner, Ashley dropped the clothes she was folding and stared at the screen. There was Maya, the girl who had saved Hope, sitting next to a woman who looked almost exactly like Ashley remembered her own mother looking years ago. And Jessica was telling a story that sounded so familiar, it made Ashley's heart ache. For the first time in days, Ashley felt something other than despair. Maybe there really was a way to get Hope back. Maybe she didn't have to lose her daughter, forever. The next morning, Ashley walked into the police station. She was thin and tired, wearing the same clothes she'd had on for 3 days, but she held her head high as she approached the front desk. "I'm Ashley," she said quietly to the officer, on duty. "I'm Hope's mother." Within minutes, the station was buzzing with activity. Officer Rodriguez, Mrs. Chen, and Detective Williams all came to meet Ashley, but instead of handcuffs and harsh questions, they greeted her with gentle voices and concerned faces. "Thank you for coming in," Mrs. Chen said, leading Ashley to a comfortable conference room. "We've been hoping you would feel safe enough to reach out." Ashley was shaking, but she managed to tell her story. She talked about aging out of foster care, about losing her job and her apartment, about the growing fear that she couldn't provide what Hope needed. She cried as she explained the hardest decision of her life. "I left her in the park because I knew someone good would find her there," Ashley said through her tears. "I watched from across the street until that girl found her. I saw how gentle she was, how quickly she acted. I knew Hope would be safe." Mrs. Chen reached across the table and squeezed Ashley's hand. "Ashley, what you did took incredible love and courage. You made sure Hope was found by someone who would care for her, and you trusted strangers to help when you couldn't do it alone anymore." "But I abandoned my baby," Ashley whispered. "What kind of mother does that?" "A mother who loves her child, enough to make sure she's safe even when it breaks her own heart," Officer Rodriguez said gently. "Ashley, you're not in trouble here. We want to help you get Hope back." Over the next several hours, Ashley met with counselors, social workers, and legal advocates. Instead of the punishment she had expected, she found a team of people ready to help her build a stable life for herself and Hope. Mrs. Chen had spent the morning making phone calls, and by afternoon, she had lined up temporary housing for Ashley, enrollment in a job training program, and regular counseling sessions. Most importantly, she had arranged for Ashley to see Hope that very day. Maya was at the hospital for her daily visit when Ashley arrived. She was sitting by Hope's crib, reading the same duck story, when she heard footsteps in the doorway. She looked up to see a young woman with Hope's exact same blue eyes, flanked by Mrs. Chen and Dr. Martinez. "Hope, baby," Ashley whispered, rushing to the crib. "Mama's here." Hope looked up at Ashley and immediately started making the soft cooing, sound she had never made for anyone else. Ashley picked up her daughter with shaking hands, and Hope snuggled against her mother's chest like she belonged there. Maya watched with tears in her eyes as mother and daughter were reunited. This was what she had hoped for from the very beginning. Not just Hope's safety, but her return to the person who loved her most. "You must be Maya," Ashley said, still holding Hope close. "I saw you on the news." Maya nodded, suddenly feeling shy. "Thank you," Ashley continued, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you for saving her. Thank you for taking care of her. Thank you for helping me find the courage to come back." "I just did what anyone would do," Maya said softly. "No," Ashley shook her head. "You did what a hero would do. You saved my baby's life. And you saved mine too." 6 months later, Maya received an invitation to Hope's first birthday party. Ashley had graduated from her job training program and was working as a medical assistant at a clinic downtown. She had a small but clean apartment, and Hope was thriving. At the party, Maya watched Hope take her first wobbly steps, reaching for the balloons tied to her high chair. Ashley was there, of course, but so were several other young mothers from the support group she had joined. Mrs. Chen was there too, along with Jessica, who had become like a big sister to Ashley. "Look what you started," Maya's mother said, putting her arm around her daughter as they watched Hope play with her birthday presents. Maya smiled, thinking about everything that had happened since that October afternoon in the park. One decision to help had created a ripple effect that touched so many lives. Hope had her mother back, Ashley had found her strength and support system, and Maya had learned that sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest acts of kindness. As they were getting ready to leave the party, Hope toddles over to Maya and held up her arms to be picked up. Maya lifted the little girl, who was now walking and babbling constantly, and Hope gave her a slobbery baby kiss on the cheek. "Thank you, Maya," Ashley said one more time. "For everything." Maya hugged Hope close and smiled. "That's what families do for each other," she said, and looking around the room at all the people who had come together to help a young mother and her baby, Maya realized that family could mean a lot more than just the people you were born to. Sometimes family meant everyone who cared enough to help when help was needed most. Hope clapped her hands and laughed, a sound full of joy and possibility, and Maya knew that this was exactly how the story was supposed to end. Arrow minds and outdated values. Still, your foundation matters to you. I don't want to be the reason you lose it. Victoria turned to face him fully. "Is that why you came outside? To nobly remove yourself from the equation?" Anthony's eyes met hers steadily. "I came out to make sure you were okay. But yes, I also think we need to be realistic about what's happening in there." "Realistic?" Victoria repeated. "You mean I should care more about what they think?" "Put appearances first. I mean, you should consider the cost," Anthony clarified. "The work you do through your foundation helps thousands of people. If they push you out because of whatever this is between us, is that a net good for the world?" Victoria studied his face in the dim light. "Whatever this is between us," she echoed softly. "What would you call it, Anthony?" He hesitated, then said, "Unexpected, important, worth protecting, but not at any cost." "And who decides the cost?" "Trevor, Mrs. Chen, the society pages." Before Anthony could answer, the terrace door opened again and a young woman stepped out, her press badge catching the light. "Ms. Harrington? Could I get a comment on your foundation's approach to equitable rebuilding, and perhaps introduce your companion?" Victoria recognized her as a reporter from the local paper, one who had covered her charity events respectfully in the past. Anthony stepped back slightly. "I should go back inside." "No," Victoria said suddenly, a decision crystallizing in her mind. She turned to the reporter. "I'd be happy to discuss our rebuilding approach. And yes, I'd like to introduce Anthony Reed, the structural engineer whose expertise is shaping our most important projects." The reporter's eyes lit with interest. "The same Anthony Reed who saved you during the earthquake?" "The very same," Victoria confirmed. "Though that's the least of his contributions to our city's recovery." As Victoria began outlining their vision for equitable rebuilding, Anthony gradually joined the conversation, his initial reluctance giving way to passionate explanations of how proper design could protect vulnerable communities. The reporter took rapid notes, clearly seeing a bigger story than she'd anticipated. "This partnership between high society and practical expertise is fascinating. How did it develop beyond the rescue?" Victoria and Anthony exchanged glances. "When you're trapped in a collapsed building with someone for 6 hours, you either learn to hate each other or find common ground," Victoria said with a small smile. "We discovered we shared more values than either of us expected." "Despite our different backgrounds," Anthony added. "Or perhaps because of them," Victoria suggested. "Different perspectives create stronger solutions." The reporter nodded thoughtfully. "And the rumors about your foundation board being concerned about your friendship?" Victoria straightened her shoulders. "If helping communities rebuild and working with the best people for that job, regardless of their social standing, concerns the board, then perhaps the board needs new members who understand what true charity means." As the reporter thanked them and left, Anthony looked at Victoria with a mixture of admiration and concern. "You just publicly challenged your own board," he said. "That was either very brave or very reckless." "Maybe both," Victoria admitted. "But I'm tired of living by their rules. The earthquake didn't just shake buildings, it shook loose everything I thought I knew about what matters." She stepped closer to him. "You asked who decides the cost. I do, and I decide you're worth it." Anthony's expression softened, but before he could respond, a commotion from inside drew their attention. Through the terrace doors, they could see people gathering around phones and tablets, expressions of shock and interest on their faces. "What now?" Victoria wondered. A moment later, the doors burst open and Diane rushed out, her face flushed with excitement. "Victoria, you're trending. That reporter just posted your interview on social media, and it's exploding. People are calling you and Mr. Reed the faces of the new San Francisco." Anthony raised an eyebrow. "That was fast." "This changes everything," Diane continued, her earlier disapproval apparently forgotten in the face of viral fame. "The gala committee wants you both to speak. The mayor's aide is looking for you. Even Trevor seems rattled." Victoria looked at Anthony, a slow smile spreading across her face. "Still worried about being bad for my reputation?" "I think," he said carefully, "your reputation is evolving, just like you are." Together they turned to face the crowded ballroom, where curiosity had replaced judgment in many eyes, and where their unexpected partnership had suddenly become the most interesting story in a city full of change. 1 year after the earthquake, the Oakland Community Center stood complete against the clear autumn sky. No longer just a building, it had become a symbol of the new San Francisco Bay Area, one that acknowledged divisions but worked to bridge them. Victoria checked her watch as she walked the perimeter of the building. The grand opening ceremony would begin in less than an hour, and dozens of details still needed her attention. Yet she couldn't resist taking this quiet moment to appreciate what they had accomplished. The center's design was unlike anything that had existed before the earthquake. One wing contained temporary housing units that had sheltered displaced families throughout the rebuilding process. Another section housed a medical clinic that had provided care regardless of insurance status. The main hall served as both emergency response headquarters during crises and community gathering space during normal times. But Victoria's favorite part was the rooftop garden, designed with both beauty and function in mind, growing food for the community kitchen while providing a peaceful retreat above the busy streets. "There you are." Anthony's voice came from behind her. "The mayor's team just arrived. They're setting up near the east entrance." Victoria turned, her heart doing the familiar little jump it always did when she saw him. A year of working side by side hadn't diminished that feeling. If anything, it had deepened. "How's the tech setup coming along?" she asked. "The live stream is ready. We'll be broadcasting to every relief center in the Bay Area." Anthony's pride was evident in his voice. "People who can't be here physically will still be part of the celebration." Victoria nodded, pleased. Accessibility had been a core principle in everything they'd built together, from ramps and elevators to digital inclusion. "Did you ever imagine, when you were trapped under that chandelier, that we'd end up here?" Anthony asked, his expression softening as he gestured toward the completed center. Victoria smiled. "Honestly, I didn't imagine much of anything beyond the next few minutes. You were the one who kept talking about what we'd build after we got out. Someone had to be optimistic," he replied with a grin. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, until Victoria's phone buzzed with a message. "The caterers need a decision on something," she sighed. "I should go handle it," Anthony nodded. "I'll finish the walkthrough and meet you inside." As Victoria headed toward the main entrance, she spotted a familiar figure approaching from the parking lot. "Ms. Harrington," Richard Bennett called, waving a hand in greeting. "Or should I call you Victoria now, since we've become partners in rebuilding half the city?" Victoria smiled, remembering how Bennett had been talking with Anthony at the gala, just before the earthquake hit. The older businessman had become one of their strongest allies over the past year, using his construction connections to support community-based rebuilding efforts. "Victoria is fine, Richard. How does it look to you?" She gestured toward the completed center. Bennett let out a low whistle. "Remarkable. When you and Reed first proposed this integrated design, I thought you were dreaming too big. I've never been happier to be proven wrong." "We had good support," Victoria acknowledged. "Your foundation's backing made a huge difference." My money and your vision, Bennett said. A good partnership. Speaking of partnerships, he glanced toward where Anthony was speaking with a group of engineers. You two make quite a team. Victoria felt herself blushing slightly. We work well together. More than work, from what I hear, Bennett said with a knowing smile. The society pages have finally stopped calling it a scandal and started calling it a love story. The society pages should find better things to write about, Victoria replied, though without real annoyance. The media attention had been intense at first. The socialite and the engineer, crossing race and class lines in earthquake-ravaged San Francisco. But as months passed and their rebuilding work showed real results, the narrative had shifted from sensation to inspiration. Perhaps, Bennett agreed, but sometimes a story captures people's imagination because it represents something they need to see. Your partnership shows what's possible when old barriers come down. Before Victoria could respond, Trevor appeared, looking uncomfortable but determined. Victoria, he said stiffly. The board members have arrived. They're waiting to speak with you before the ceremony. In the year since the fundraising gala, Trevor had gradually shifted from antagonist to reluctant ally. After Victoria's public challenge to her foundation board had gone viral, public opinion had forced a reckoning within the organization. Several old guard members had resigned, allowing Victoria to bring in more diverse voices. Trevor, reading the changing winds, had eventually a